All right. All right, let's see here. We're gonna wait for a couple minutes to have a few more people join, and then we get started. All right, let me see 1 minute. One more minute. All right, we're gonna give it one more second, and we're gonna start. Dun, 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 dun. All right. Okay, guys, we're gonna get started here with this webinar. I hope this webinar is useful to you. Our mission, and again, my name's Sebastian from Breath Restaurant Marketing. This is all that we do here. We do restaurant marketing. That's what we specialize on. And what our mission at Breath is really to help restaurants take their marketing to the next level and drive the results that they're after, right? So, all right, so why should, let's start this presentation, and with a couple of things here to pay attention to. Please turn off your cell phones, your social media channels. It is important that you pay attention if you really want to get the most out of this webinar, and of course, make sure you take notes, and so you can then refer to them and then implement the things that we're going to be talking about here for your own business. Okay. Who am I and why should you listen to me? Let's start with that. This is not to brag or any of that stuff. This is just so you have a reference that what I'm going to talk about actually comes from first-hand experience. And we've implemented these things with not only myself personally working for a large restaurant group in South Florida, but also implementing these for many of our clients. So over 16 years of experience in the industry. I've been in the restaurant industry since 2005, owned and operated restaurants. So I have an intimate knowledge of the restaurant business, not just in marketing, but the business itself. So that really comes in handy when you're trying to do restaurant marketing, because there's a lot of things that tie in together, that play together. Okay, so I was also the head of marketing for and partner for 8 years for a award-winning hospitality group in South Florida, operating 6 brands and 2 multi-unit brands. Okay, so we also have a track record of 99% retention rate with our clients, and we've been doing this for some time now, for 3 years, and we continue to help restaurants drive results without sacrificing margins. We work with restaurants across the U.S., and of course, we have, of course, articles published in Restaurant Business Online and others. So again, this is not to brag, just to give you guys a little bit of the background, so you know what we're going to be covering here makes sense to you guys. A couple of testimonials of what our clients say about this. You don't have to read this right now. I'm going to actually share this after, so you guys can see it if you would like to. But just some of the things that some of our clients have to say about working with us. All right, so what are we going to cover today? So today, we're going to focus on understanding each marketing channel, and why it's important to understand each marketing channel and when to use them, and why is this so important and essential for marketing success. We're going to show you real examples also of clients, of restaurants, and how we've implemented some marketing campaigns and strategies, and then how we measure success. So we're going to teach you how to do that, so then you can really understand what are the channels that are going to help you drive the best results for your restaurant. Okay, then we're also going to be looking at what are the channels that you have to be using for your restaurant. And it's going to depend on numerous factors. We're going to dive deep into that, and then we're going to define also what are the KPIs that you need to be tracking, that you need to be looking at. And we're actually going to go beyond just KPIs. We're also going to go into metrics. So that's those two things that you need to look at it, and that it's essential. So when you're determining success of your restaurant marketing, okay. All right, so diving into the first part, why is understanding each marketing channel essential for success? Okay, so as you know, there's tons of marketing channels. You're looking at social media, the organic side. You're looking at social media for the paid advertising, which is social media ads. And there you have Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and then you're going into, email marketing. You're going into SMS. You're going into Google advertising. So there's a lot of different resources, a lot of different platforms that you can use, to really push your marketing, right? So you need to understand how each of one of these works, so then you know when to use them and how to use them, okay? All right, so why is it understanding these channels so essential? Okay, so first, it's understanding that you need to understand how each platform works and who their audience is, so then you can determine which channel is the most effective for your particular concept, right? So for example, for a fast casual concept, an SMS platform is essential, right? Or if you're using a loyalty platform that integrates SMS, for example, it's essential. It's really, really effective. If you're looking at a full service restaurant, then you got to be looking at, okay, we're going to look at, let's say you have private events at your restaurant. So then Google is going to be a particular channel that you want to look at, because there's a search intent behind it. There's people looking to for places to have private events, so they're going to be searching on Google. That's one of the channels. So again, it just depends on your concept and what you offer, and that's how you're going to be choosing your marketing channel. Maximizing reach. So there's different audiences for each channel, so you also want to make sure you understand these, because it's going to reach a different audience depending on which one you use. So, well, an example is TikTok. Now it's kind of changed, and now there's like a broader audience on TikTok. But before it was more like, okay, the younger audiences in TikTok, and those are the people that are going to be there. So if you have a young concept, or a concept that's focused on that type of demographic, that's the channel that one of the channels that you want to focus on, right? So understanding that is essential. So customer segmentation, that's another thing. So remember that each channel, again, it's specific to certain audiences. So a lot of the older demographic are hanging out more on Facebook, right? So then you know that for certain concepts, it's going to make sense to use that platform more than the others, right? And we see it with our clients that have those type of demographics, and we'll share some examples later, in which, again, Facebook and email are number one. If you're trying to go into Instagram or TikTok, you're not going to get much there, right? So understanding this is essential. All right, so then integrated marketing campaigns. So all of these channels, or not all of them, but yes, a lot of these, they interconnect. Basically, you can play around with each other, right? So let's say, because you're going to be hitting them, you want to do fully integrated campaigns. You don't want to do just one channel. That means you're going to hit them from all different angles. So let's say, you are looking at a social ad, and then you go into Google, and then you see another ad following you. I don't know if you've seen that. It's kind of creepy sometimes, that you looked at something, and then you go to somewhere else on a website, and then you're getting this ad for the same thing you're looking at. You're like, what's going on? So that's retargeting, right? So then all of these channels can work together to drive the results that you're after, right? So it is really important to understand how each one of these works, and how you can best utilize them depending on which campaign, or what type of campaign, and what type of promotion, or whatever it is that you're doing, that you're running. So that's important. All right, adaptability to trends, that's another one. So basically here, you need to understand what's going on in all these marketing channels, because they're constantly evolving. So there's new things coming out, there's things that are changing. So you need to be on top of that stuff, because if you're not, and you stay behind, you're trying to run, you're doing things that are not really working, and you don't understand why. But the reason is algorithm change, for example, for Instagram. Oh no, now they changed this feature. Oh, now they have this other thing that you can use, right? And these platforms like that stuff, like if you're using some of these new features, sometimes that will help you, get more engagement, get more, get in front of more people, which is ultimately what you want. Okay. And then measuring effectiveness and allocating budget. So again, it is if you understand how these platforms work, and when to use them, then you will know where you want to allocate the most budget depending on the campaign that you're running. Okay, so quick example, again, I was talking about private events. So if you're running a campaign or you want to push private events, private dining at your restaurant, and you're trying to run social ads for that, you're probably not going to get too far with that, right? So you can allocate a bunch of money to your social ads for that, but you're not going to get great results because people are not really looking there. If it's social events, you can support it with that, right? You can support it with that those type of ads, but the main source is going to be Google, right? Because people are searching where they can find private, a restaurant that offers private events. Okay, and so that's just a quick example of why it is important. So then you can decide, okay, social, I'm going to spend a little bit. Then on Google, I'm going to allocate the rest of the budget because I know it makes sense because that's where people are going to be at. Okay. All right. So why most marketing campaigns fail? Well, first of all, like we were saying, it's failing to understand which channels to use for a specific campaign. Then secondly is not setting up tracking systems. And that is essential. If you don't have tracking systems, don't spend any money because you're not going to know what the hell happened. And you're not going to know really, what is driving the results, and you're just going to be guessing, like a lot of people do in the restaurant business. Because and it's normal because operators don't have the time to really, dive deep into marketing. They're not marketers, they're operators. Some which are a little bit larger, then they can have the access and the resources to hire some people for this, or they can hire agencies, and that's when things start changing. And a lot of people don't have this, right? So then, they don't have those tracking systems in place, and they're just kind of dropping money, and they don't believe in any of these like digital marketing, things, because they don't see the results. They don't have tangible things they can look at, right? So it's important to do that. We're going to go through that. Failing to understand how and when to use this marketing channel, like I was saying, you need to understand when to use these for which particular campaign and depending on the objective that you're trying to achieve. Okay, and then allocating resources to the wrong marketing channel, like I was just explaining before. You can allocate a bunch of money to your Facebook ads for a private dining campaign, and it's not going to do anything. Okay, or you can be allocating trying to get reservations for a specific event that you're having at your restaurant through Google, and you're not going to get anything because nobody's searching for your event, right? It's just not the way it works. Anyways, so those are the things and the reasons why campaigns fail. All right, so let's go into takeaways, anything that you've learned, anything that stands out for you, that any questions that you guys have. All right, let's see. All right, Maria, what platforms work best for young people? Is it still a good idea to use Facebook for them? Okay, so Maria, the answer is you want to be in, I think, in all of them, but for young people, like I was explaining a little bit before, TikTok is still a really good platform. That's where people are hanging out, but there's other new ones, right, that are coming out, and you want to stay on, also on top of that to see how they evolve. They're not mainstream 100% yet, so that's not something I'm going to get into. But again, you want to be looking at those trends. That's what we were talking about that before. But for now, yes, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook is still relevant. You know why? Because Facebook Business Manager is what you want to use for running ads. That basically integrates also Instagram and Facebook. So you're still, and also the placements on Facebook go into all those different platforms. So you want to make sure you definitely want to use that. All right, so Tom, for Facebook Live, will there be any explanation on how to track conversion on each platform? Okay. Yes, we're going to go through the details and on how you track the conversions for each platform. I'm not going to go into technicalities because that would be a whole different conversation. But I'm going to give you a list of things that you want to look at, that you want to track. And if you guys have more questions, Tom, if you have more questions of that, just send me a note, send me a message. You can email us or actually send us a message through Facebook, and we'll be sure to get you everything that you need. All right. Anything else? Okay. All right. So we're ready to go here and continue the presentation. All right. So what marketing channels drive results? So you have to ask a series of questions to first determine, what channels are going to be the best, the best ones for your restaurant, for your concept in particular. So if you have a fast casual joint, like I was saying before, there's SMS, and yes, social ads are as important. Google can play an important part, but you're going to see the effectiveness of these channels be different depending on which concept that you have. So let's say if you have a full service restaurant and you offer catering and private events, then again, you can leverage Google. Let's say also you have a reservation system. That's also another channel you need to consider. Restaurants have specific marketing channels from platforms that are made specifically for restaurants. So those are the ones that I'm sure most of you are familiar with, but for example, OpenTable. So that's a great resource to use, great platform to use for specific things, right? So like I was saying, you want to drive reservations for a specific, event experience that you create, so you can create an OpenTable experience, right? If you're a fine dining restaurant, for example, then, you want to build, I don't think SMS is going to be the right channel for you, because I don't think people for finding a restaurant would be put off a little bit. They'd be put off if you're sending text messages to them, right? So maybe email would be the best. I think email would be the best way to go. Sometimes even personalized emails, because not even the just big image, big thing promotion type of thing with them. And then anyways, the whole marketing with them is going to be different. But yes, you can still reach them through social channels, through Google, through email, that type of messaging, right? So then you have to understand also who is your audience. So like I was saying before, if you are speaking to an older demographic, email is going to be your best route, right? Email and Facebook, right? But if it's a younger demographic, then you need to understand, okay, these guys are going to be hanging out in Instagram and in TikTok. And yes, you can still use email and SMS, but the the effectiveness of these channels is going to change, right? So we've seen this time and time again. For a young concept, SMS is perfect. If it's a casual young concept, it's great. It's going to drive results, and people don't care. They actually prefer text than email. Okay. All right. So what also you want to look at to see if you have a customer database. How large is your customer database? Are you acquiring customer data on a regular basis? That's also super important, because then let's say, oh yes, I want to use email, but you don't have a database, it's going to be useless, right? But if you're constantly building that database, which I would 100% recommend that you do, it's a must, then email is going to be a great channel for you. Okay, you can reach a ton of people, and it's still one of the most effective channels out there. Okay, and we're going to show that to you here in a few examples in a little bit. All right, so what type of marketing campaign will you run, and what is your main objective? Okay, so here, like I was explaining before, depending on what you're going to do and what your objective is, you're going to define what channel is going to be the best one for you to use, right? So you want to use all of them most of the time. Again, SMS with exceptions. It just depends. But you will allocate the most effort, or you will see the most the best results from particular ones, depending again on your objective, on your audience, right? And then other things like the database or other things that you might have. So let's say you're doing an event for Valentine's Day. So for that, you want to understand, what are you trying to do? You're trying to drive menu sales or trying to drive reservations basically for a particular date, right? And that's it. And then you have to understand, okay, is there a search intent behind this? Are people searching for restaurants to eat for Valentine's Day? The answer is yes. Okay, so then Google's a good channel to use. Then, okay, now social, is that a good channel? Yes, people are still like, they're going to get a nice, a beautiful ad talking about this menu and an awesome food or whatever. You can run that ad. It's going to do great. But also keep this in mind. And there's different things you can do there. Are you going to talk to your audience that you already have? So that means you're going to use retargeting on those ads. So then you can talk to the people that already know you, which is going to be the most likely to convert to certain events. To Valentine's, it's a little bit different, because sometimes it changes, because Valentine's people go for a particular occasion. They're trying to show off, or they're trying to impress somebody, or it's something special. So then people that not normally go to your restaurant might go that day. So instead of focusing more or allocating most of your dollars for prospecting, so like getting people that don't know you, then you want to allocate your dollars to, for retargeting that people already know you. Do you want to allocate more dollars for people that don't know you? to, of course, you have to define your audience to a certain age, certain interests, certain things you can do on Facebook. We're not going to get into those details, but you can do that. So then you're going to allocate more dollars there. Okay, so you get that. That's really getting into the details of each channel, but it's important to understand. If it's a promotion, okay, so what is going to be your most effective market channel? Again, that's going to be with people that already know you. So you're going to have your email, your email marketing, your SMS. Yes, you can run ads, retargeting ads, and that's going to be really helpful. And if you're trying to reach, new prospects, yes, still use those different channels, but you're going to understand like the mix, the breakdown of the budget is going to make more sense to focus a little bit more on retargeting than prospecting, because you know that getting people that don't know you to come to your restaurant is not as easy as getting people that already know you to come back and frequent your restaurant more. Okay, private dining and catering lead generation, that's going to be Google, like I was just talking about before, because there's an intent behind it. You can still support it with social, right? Both organic and ads, but your Google channel is going to be the most effective. All right, so let's continue. So now we're going to be talking about evaluating the results. You need to be tracking everything. That's what I was mentioning in the beginning. If you don't have this in place, don't spend any money, because you're not going to see it come back. You might get something, but you're not going to even know where the hell you're spending, and you're not going to know what's actually driving the results. Okay, so channel specific tracking. So first of all, in anything that you do, in any promotion, any campaign that you're going to be running, you have to come up with your tracking system. So usually, if we're trying to drive, for example, reservations for let's go back to the example for Valentine's Day. So then, how are you going to track that? Okay, create a landing page. So in creating a landing page, you can do it through different platforms, like in Instapages, or you can do that through Unbounce, or you can create it directly through your website, which is better. So then you're directing traffic to your website, and then you can retarget them. That's what I would recommend. So do that. For that, you'll need a developer. You can find a freelancer. If you don't have a team, then they can do that for you. Of course, an agency, if you're working with an agency, they can do that. But make sure it's mobile optimized, is built properly for conversions, right? In this case, what are you trying to do? Reservations. So then there's going to be a button there for reservations. You got to have that's also calls, right? So you got to be tracking calls. Bitly, great tool. You guys go to bitly.com. Basically, you're creating, everywhere that you can create small. Well, the large links, they become smaller links. That's what it does, but it also tracks every click. So sometimes in restaurant marketing, it's not a straight path. So even if they click on something and they go to your landing page, sometimes they don't make the reservation right then and there, because food, that's not the way it works. With food, you see it and you click, you look at the menu, and you look at it, and he's like, oh, cool, I might go to it. Right. And then if you see the ad again, you remember, okay, I'm going to go to it. Right. But you don't make the reservation right then and there. You can actually make a call later. You can then Google it, and then, make the call through Google, or you can just call the restaurant, reserve, or then you go in to OpenTable and then reserve through there. So it's never a straight path. Right. So, but using Bitly is what it allow you to do is at least how many people clicked on that link, that message. Right. So then if there's interest. Right. Now, if they convert it, again, it's never a straight path. Sometimes you will know 100%, sometimes you won't. Sometimes people do make the reservations there. Now, going a step further, if you have an integration with Toast and OpenTable, then you can get granular and actually track all the way to the person dining at the restaurant and actually seeing how much they spent in that dinner. So you can really get accurate in terms of ROI. Okay, Google Analytics. Yeah, you need to have that installed on your website. Okay, it's going to be able to track all your Google ad campaigns. Google Tag Manager, sometimes that's necessary, because let's say, it depends on your website backend. Like sometimes Google Analytics won't work, then you got to do some tags there. Again, I'm not going to get into technicalities, but something that you're going to have. Conversion API or Pixel. Pixel's kind of going away. It's there, but it's not as accurate. So the Conversion API for Meta or Facebook, whatever you want to call it now, it's important to have, right? And to have that connection and have those things done. Okay. Again, your agency or person who's helping, they can do that. Facebook provides some instructions on how to do that, but it's not that simple, but definitely worth the investment of the time. OpenTable tracking links, again, or 7Rooms, they offer the same thing. All these reservation systems usually do. Tracking links that you can insert on your reservation button that you have on your landing page, so then you can know exactly how many reservations came through that particular link that you have on that place, right? So let's say usually what we do is break it down. So we have a landing page for Google, we have a landing page for social ads, and we have a landing page for email. We have, again, a landing page for each channel. So then we can determine exactly how many reservations and how many people actually called or made a reservation through that particular channel. Okay, so that's the way to go if you really want to know what's going on. All right, so POS integration, like I was talking about, and then call tracking is also important. You guys can use a platform like CallRail. It's going to help you track all those calls. You can record the calls, and then you can do also some cool things like listen in onto customer service. So when you're calling your restaurant and it's like, oh, well, I'm interested in Valentine's Day, and then you hear the hostess like, what? You know, those type of things that happen all the time. Anyways, it's important to have. All right, KPIs and metrics to track. And these are the things that you want to be looking at when, you know, after you run your campaigns. You want to look at your social media, organic, of course, performance, comments, shares, mentions, you know, if you have links and reservations, whatever it is that you have there, but those are things, engagement, basically, it's the most important thing you want to track here on social. Email, open rates, click-through rates, important to know, right, to see if it's effective. And then, of course, you'll have tracking links on those buttons that you'll have on your email, so then you can see if actual reservations or calls or whatever it is came from those efforts. Social media ads, of course, clicks, conversions, and there's a lot more to that. There's more metrics you want to look at, but those are the basic things. And if you're running social ads, yes, you can send them to landing page, and then you can track conversions there by however many people reserve through that specific landing page that was built specifically for social ads. Okay, Google ads, conversions, clicks, CTR, click-through rates, cost per conversion, and then cost per clicks, calls. Also, all of these things important to look at to see, again, what's going on and understanding. I'm not going to get into details of how to optimize each of these campaigns because that's a whole different conversation. But again, those are things you want to look at. So SMS, again, clicks, calls, and then OpenTable, of course, reservations, and then those reports you can run to see where they came from if you create these tracking links like I was mentioning before. Okay, like I was saying, not always a straight path in terms of attribution, because restaurants is not, you know, they're not, this is not retail. So it's not e-commerce that you're promoting something and they buy right then and there, and then you can know exactly where they came from. So it happens sometimes, yes, through reservations or through, like, if you're running campaigns as such as private events, right, or catering, yes, there's a form submission, there's a call, and then you can attribute a certain percentage to that. But, you know, or you can get the actual numbers from the restaurant if you have that information, and then you can really know how much, right, you know, what really determine your ROI. And if you're driving online sales, like online ordering, again, never a straight path. Sometimes they go and they order through your ad, but that's not usually the case, because even if you split your ads and you're running ads on specific times where you know where people are going to be more like hungry and they're actually, you know, pushing orders to that time, not necessarily, you know, not always you're going to get the clicks, but that person going through the whole path of going through your website and then going through your system and ordering right then and there is not usually the case, right? So that's why you need to look at other metrics in addition to those type of analytics or KPIs, because and that's where we're going to go into that right now. So, for example, you got to be looking at sales. You got to be looking at, you know, your incremental sales, because sometimes, yes, let's say you're, like I was just saying right now, you're trying to drive sales for particular, you know, through your online ordering system, and you're not going to get the straight path and the conversion there. And that's if you have a platform, let's say like Appfront or something like that, that allows you to insert a Facebook pixel and then you can track actual purchases from the ads, right? But even then, again, it's not a straight path. So you got to be looking at sales trends. You got to be comparing, okay, I'm running this campaign for this, you know, for this week, and let me compare it to the previous week and the weeks after to see if there's a difference. Because even if there was not a straight path of conversion that I'm seeing, okay, this came in through this specific, you know, this particular channel, because sometimes I guess you can see it, but then you look at the sales trends, and then you see if what you're doing is driving results. So yes, there's other stuff you can do, for example, like promo codes, which is, you know, of course, a great way to track this, because then there's a specific promo code that people need to use, and then you will know when they, of course, use that promo code through your ad campaigns that it came from that particular channel. Okay, So you can set different promo codes in different channels, and then you will know exactly what channel drove those results. Okay. Again, sales comparisons, incremental sales, because you got to look at that difference from previous, weeks or days. It depends on what you're doing to see if there's an additional revenue that was generated through your campaigns. Average check sometimes depends on how you structure your promotions or your campaigns. You definitely can drive check average. So if that's something that you're doing your promotion, you want to be looking at that as well. If you're doing something like, your Mother's Day special menu or Valentine's Day, you want to look at how many you sold, and then you go comparisons versus, of course, previous years. And then you want to also look, of course, reservation, guest count, of course, your ROI at the end of the day, looking at, how much you generated in incremental revenue, or how much, what was that difference, and how much you spent, and how much you actually generated. If you do the tracking properly, you can actually get this. You can get pretty close to, to determining an accurate ROI, and of course your ROAS, which is return on ad spend. That also something that you want to be looking at, right? Okay, so now let's go into the case studies. Just a couple of examples that we have here of some of our clients. I'm actually gonna start sharing my screen here. Let me see. Okay, I'm gonna start presenting this, and now I'm gonna share my screen with you. All right, let me see. Okay, so now let's dig deep here with one of our clients. This is Padrino's Restaurants. They have 5 locations across South Florida, and this was a particular campaign that we were running for a catering menu that they created specifically for the holidays. Basically, it was a cold pickup. So they prepared the food, beforehand. I mean, you had to call, or you had to actually send a form, and then they would, prepare your order, and then you would, you go there, pick up your order cold, and then you would warm it up for, Thanksgiving, Christmas, or New Year's Eve, depending. These are the 3 times that we would be doing this particular, promotions. Not a promotion, it's a campaign. Really, basically, you're just pushing the sales for this. All right, so again, we were talking about objectives at the beginning. Define this as essential, so then you'll know again what channels to use, right, and where to allocate the most dollars to. Okay, so driving awareness for holiday pickup menu, driving traffic for the catering page, of course, increasing catering sales, this is number 1, right? And then, of course, understanding what is driving results, okay? And then another thing, yes, increasing database. Again, I was talking about database before. Yes, do that every time you can. Okay, I'm not gonna go through the whole graphic thing because it's not important right now or relevant, but anyways, we do a bunch of different graphics according to each channel. But basically, these are the channels that we used. So pop-up banner on your website, always really, really good to have. You can get, if you have good traffic on your website, this is essential for this concept. Is essential because, again, their demographics a little bit older. People visit this website a lot. So then results, actually, a lot of results come from this particular channel. Email, right, or newsletter, or email marketing. We do eBlast, we did different ones. Social media ads, Google AdWords, organic post stories, SMS. Again, these channels were selected. Why? Because Google AdWords, there's a search intent. People are searching for catering or where to order catering for the holidays. So there's a search intent. We use Google. Social media ads, of course, awareness, retargeting, and prospecting. People that don't know the concept, people that know the concept. Okay, and the most likely to order are the people that know the concept. So we focus more dollars, allocate more dollars to social media ads for retargeting. Okay, organic posts and stories. Also important to have. You're always going to have a local following, or people that actually do engage with you on your social channels. Again, that's kind of gone down a ton in the previous, some time ago, but it's still the case, right? So you're not going to get too many people seeing that. So if you're just relying on social media organic, because people think when people think of marketing, sadly they think of social media, but that's just one channel. And if you're looking at organic performance, or just like the your organic post, the stuff that you put up there, it's not going to do a thing. So anyways, just get that out of your mind. There's a lot of other things that you can do, which drive the results, and you guys will see this in a second of the difference. SMS, this particular restaurant has an SMS platform, and it's very effective, again, depending on what we're doing. And you will see here, because according to the demographics, SMS is actually not the best channel to use for this. But anyways, all right, so now let's go into the analytics. I'm not going to go into all the analytics right now because I'm just showing you guys an example of a report that we run right? And for these campaigns, we run two types of reports: the monthly report that shows everything that we're doing on a monthly basis, and then we run a PCA, or post-campaign analysis report, which we show all of this stuff that you guys are seeing. So then we get granular onto the results of a particular campaign that we run, that we actually allocate a lot more dollars to. All right, so social media, again, I'm not going to get into the details of this because it's too long, and this is not what we're talking about here. The same thing with email. We have all the different things that we did here with email. You have the specifics of everything that we did. And I'm just going to go through the summary. Same thing with social ads, same thing with Google ads, but let's just go into the summary. Okay, so remember how I was talking about clicks, why it's important to track, because there's not a straight path, but then you can see where people came into contact with your campaign, and then we'll look at conversion. But look at this. All right, email, over 2,000 clicks, right? Facebook, almost 2,000 as well. Your website, like I was saying, look at this, 2,600. So that's, people going to the website and clicking on that pop-up banner. So there's a ton of traffic to this website. It's super important. Organic posts, 5. Again, this demographic is older, so their engagement rate and the people that are hanging out in these channels are not many. So that's why you're seeing this type of performance, okay? So not great. So then you don't want to invest a ton in creating beautiful, cool, organic content, because it's not going to do crap, okay? So you got to focus on the things that actually work. All right, so then SMS, you got a few clicks here. Actually, that's a list of, they actually have a pretty big list, and there's only 200 clicks. So I think it's a list of about 10,000 people. So that's not much. Again, that's not the channel for them. All right, so form submissions. This is actually people that submitted a form to request a catering, a holiday pickup, right? This whole thing that we're talking about. So look at the breakdown. All right, so email, 85 came from that, as I was talking about before. Still one of the most effective channels if you have the right audience and if you have, if you do it properly. Facebook, 21. Again, these two, one of the most effective. Why? Because, and again, an older demographic, they hang out on Facebook. That's where you're going to get. Google ads, 10. There's search intent behind it. This is probably people that are not their customers, right? Because we're not doing retargeting here. We're just focusing on people that are searching for solutions for their holidays, and they're just trying to find food that is easy to serve, and they found Padrinos. So 10 orders came from that. The pop-up, 45. So after email, second one. Again, your website is essential. People are like, websites aren't important anymore. Your Instagram page, crap. It just depends on which concept you have or what type of concept, and even then, it's still super important to have. You need to have it. So get that out of your mind. Build a website. Anyways, try to build it on WordPress because it's a little bit more robust and you can do different things with it. But there's other platforms you want to use. You can. Organic post, there's 1. So like I was saying, not very impressive. SMS, there's 3. Okay, so that was still something out of that, right? Because you do pay per SMS, so that's important to still know, right? And on account of submissions, we don't know exactly where it came from because we didn't have. They came directly from the website that didn't go through the pop-up, or they went through a different place that we just didn't know, right? They might have just been calls that people know the restaurant and they call and they already know that they have that and they called, right? All right, so unique form submissions, 192. So that's a pretty good turnout for this restaurant, right? So now we're looking at ROI. How much did we spend? This is what we spent for this campaign, total of $1,600, right? And then we're looking, okay, how much revenue did we generate? Okay, here we were assuming $100 per order, which is actually, I think it was more, but let's say it was 100. You're getting over almost like $20,000 in revenue, right? Your ROAS is return on ad spend. This is just measuring the return on the ad spend, not on the organic stuff, not like not the website, just what you spent on ads and how much you got that in the return. So that's a pretty good ROAS, right? So you really want to be above 4, 5 and up. It's great, right? Your ROI, that's a 10x ROI, right? Over 10x ROI in this campaign. So great results. Last thing I'll say about this is how we present the reports. We go specifically to results. So you don't have to go through everything. If you're looking at this, we just show you how many people looked at this, how many front-end sales you got, and then how many people actually we added to your database, because you can remarket to these people. You can continue to, build that connection with them through continuous, marketing. Anyways, now this is a different example. This is a younger brand. This brand is in South Beach. It's an Asian, a little bit more trendy restaurant, and these guys were kind of they didn't really have a right marketing system or basically plan in place. We came in and started doing this for them, and one of the first promotions that we did, one of the first campaigns that we ran, was for Valentine's Day. So we ran this campaign, and of course here the objectives were to drive reservations, awareness for the brand, and of course, grow their database and sell menus, because they had a specific menu, a $90 special Valentine's Day menu. Okay. Again, we're not going to get into the whole details of graphic pieces, but this is one of the things that we did. Again, like I was saying before, super important. You need to build a landing page. This is the only way, or landing pages, because then you have to replicate this for each channel. So then you can know where did, the reservations or the calls or like where did they come from, right? So you have a landing page for each one of these channels. Once you build one, then it's easy to replicate, and then you just change the tracking links. Basically, a tracking link on that button is a tracking link that you create on OpenTable. If you guys have questions how to do that on OpenTable, just send me a message. I can kind of send you a little bit of a Loom video on how to do that, but it's important to do it that way. So you start a tracking link there, and then you name that tracking link. So then when you pull a report in OpenTable, then you'll know that's where it came from. Okay. Channels that we used: email, pop-up banners, social media ads, Google ads. Why Google ads? Again, because there's a search intent. People are searching where to eat for Valentine's Day. Why social media ads? Because again, there's a beautiful menu, you can showcase it, you can do cool things with it, and then we did video and all that stuff, and it drove some, results. Organic posts and stories. In this case, there's a little bit more engagement here because it's a younger demographics and they actually do hang out there. So there's, of course, important to have that there. Google My Business. Well, that's for every campaign. We do that because people still look at that stuff there. And then we also ran an OpenTable ad or experience. Basically, you can run ads through OpenTable. It's kind of $5 a cover. And if you're looking at a menu of $90, $5 a cover makes a whole lot of sense. So, use it. All right, so let's look at some of the results. The organic social, and again, I'm not going to get into all these details, some of the videos, cool things we did for this thing, but let's get again into the summary of things here. Let me gonna go here. All right, here's a summary by channel. Again, we're looking at clicks, email. We got over 3,500 clicks for email. So if you're thinking sometimes, oh, email's dead, no, it's not. Again, when it comes to clicks, yes, actual reservations that came directly from that is 2. So remember, you're going to see the sales on this, campaign, and you understand what I was saying before, that it's not always a straight path. But the amount of awareness that you generated through all of these efforts, even if you don't see a reservation coming directly from that, is immense. It's just really, really important to have. So I can't state this enough, just to use all your channels, because even if you don't see a direct reservation, if you see 3,000 or 3,500 clicks on this, there's a ton of people that looked at this thing, right? So again, they're probably called later or whatever. In the case, again, we're going to go into the sales and you'll see those results there. Social media ads, 1,600 clicks, right? We actually had 5 direct reservations from that. Again, not always a straight path, but here we got 5 direct reservations. Google ads, there was 451. So there's a search intent for that, for sure there was. There's only 2 reservations that came in directly from that. But again, not always direct attribution. They can call and they go different paths. Pop-up banner, also important, not as crazy as Padrinos, of course, because they have a ton of people go to their website, but still you got, a few reservations that came in through that. Again, people that already know your concept, they're more likely to convert, right? Because they, depending on the campaign. Anyway, social media organic, there's only, 33 clicks, not many. Reservations, there's 3, there's still, it's still something, right? Okay. And then the OpenTable experience, this was the best performing channel in terms of reservations. People, again, we were boosting or running ads for this, and there was $5 a cover, but 60, right? So that's really good. 60 reservations that came through that. That's a lot better, right? Like basically all of these channels together. So that for the future campaigns that you're running for these type of campaigns, like Mother's Day or experience, whatever it is that you're doing, use OpenTable. It's an effective marketing channel. Okay. All right. So now we're going into the metrics. So this has nothing to do with just the analytics. Now we're going to dive deep into the other stuff we were talking about. It's not just the channel analytics, but we want to look at the sales. Okay, so this is just a summary of how many total reservations that came in. There was 149, and this is your open table. There was an attendance average of 81%. This is important to know as well, because then you know if what you're doing is, they're making the reservations through your social channels or through your different marketing channels that you're using, and then you have to figure out, hey, are people canceling or are people actually showing up? So there was a really good attendance average on this particular campaign. Estimated revenue in total, that was revenue for that particular, for that restaurant for that day, for those hours. And then we had direct attribution of almost $10,000 just for the paid media, right? Or like our channels. So that's a really good result. Okay, so this is what I was talking about before. So look at these numbers. Okay, there was not that many direct reservations through all those channels, but you get a ton of clicks on that. But now that you're looking at the sales, there was a 29% increase here, percent change between 2023, right, and 2020. Oh, that's a mistake there. That's actually 2022, right? So there's a 29% increase. That's a lot, right? So that means everything that we did, or this campaign was very effective. Now we also looked at guest count. Now look at this thing. We got 116 guest count. Again, this cannot be 100% accurate, because remember, guest count, people are inputting how many people came in through the door on Open Table. So if your hostess is well trained, then you'll have the right information. If she's not, then, or your server's not well trained, then it might not be. So, but anyways, in this case, I think it is, because they do have a hostess and it is Open Table. So, and again, especially for these events, they track this stuff. So guest count for 2023, 227, a 96% difference. That's a huge difference. Okay, so this is super important to know and to notice, because as you saw, okay, not that many reservations came through those channels, but they definitely did. They were not direct, but they came after. There was a ton of awareness for this campaign, a ton of awareness for this particular, Valentine's Day, menu that they had, and you can see the results there. Your ROI, of course, great. In terms of revenue, this is just for digital channels, right? And all this, and then for what we did, there was over $9,000 in revenue that were generated. Total investment, we only spent, not even $1,500. Restaurant owners, listen up. Don't be cheap when you're running ads. If you know what you're doing, you can get a great result. So $1,500 might seem like a lot for an investment for a day, but if you're looking at a return, of 5x for your, on what you're spending, if you do it right, it's 100% worth it. Okay, because people say, oh, I'm spending $200 on my campaign. It's like, dude, come on. Okay, use the money, properly, understand how to do this, and you can get great results on this. Okay, so even, yes, you didn't see direct reservations coming through your Facebook ad spend. You got 2 reservations. You're like, oh, I spent all of this money and only 2 reservations came in through that. Look at your total sales. Don't just look at that, because again, it's not a direct path. This is not e-commerce. So important to have that in mind. Total investment, again, that's it. You're looking at ROI of 5x, and you're looking at ROAS of 6x. So great numbers, great results here. And so is, again, super cool to see when when you get these type of results. But again, now that this is a different example where which channels are more effective, but that doesn't mean you don't invest on all of them, because you have to. Okay, the direct attribution is not always, again, I keep saying it, it's not always a straight path. So you have to invest in all of these, but you can allocate more dollars to the ones that makes most sense. In this case, again, it was a younger demographics. We knew that social is important, so that's why we allocated more dollars to that. Okay, a little bit less on Google. Open Table, again, you pay per cover, so it's a little bit easier. All right, it's no brainer. All right, so let me just go back here to the presentation. I'm going to stop sharing and then go back to the other presentation. All right, so those are the 2 examples that I show you guys. Awesome. I hope that that you guys learned a little bit here. So questions to ask your marketing agency if you guys have one. If you don't have one, find one if you can afford it, because it can make all the difference in the world if you don't have a team. And sometimes for many restaurant owners, it's very difficult to do this on your own. So finding the right agency that understands restaurants, that understands marketing, and that understands all of these things is important. So questions to ask them: what platforms and channels do they use? More importantly is, are they proficient with restaurant-specific platforms? Do they understand them, like OpenTable, Seven Rooms, Upfront, Lunchbox? There's a ton of them. You just got to understand all of those things, because they're very useful, and sometimes they're very effective, like you guys just saw there in the OpenTable campaign. What tracking systems do they set in place? Because again, sometimes they just send you a bunch of vanity metrics and they don't show you the real thing, and then they don't even look at your actual like POS reports because they're lazy, or they don't want to do that because they don't know how to use them, and they don't really get that data. So they'll just send you some information on clicks, and then maybe some leads, maybe they did some form submissions or whatever on Google, but that's about it. So you want to ask them that stuff, right? What does your reports look like? What data, KPIs, metrics do they measure? Again, like I was saying, it is important to look at all these details that we just looked at on those reports, and see if they provide that information to you, because then you can really determine success. And they actually measuring ROI, or are they just sending you, again, just clicks, and kind of they do the half-ass job. They don't go all the way to understanding what's happening. And then the last thing is, do they have a solid understanding of restaurant operations and the business itself? Why is this important? Because if you don't understand the business and operations itself, they can come up with like cool strategies or ideas that at a restaurant level, when you're trying to implement these, they make no sense at all. And your operations team is going to hate you for that. If you're an operator, you're going to hate whoever's doing the marketing for you, because you're going to be stepping on other people's toes, on bartenders or your staff, if you don't know what you're doing. Okay, and then understanding again that there's not a direct path and how consumer behavior works in restaurants. So there's a lot of stuff to that. So that's why it's important that whoever is doing your marketing understands restaurants, and has intricate knowledge of the business. All right. And what makes our marketing campaigns better or different? We have over 16 years of experience in the restaurant industry, actually even a little bit more. We know restaurant platforms, which make a ton of difference, like you guys just saw. We set up tracking systems by channel, so then you can really know, what channels work the best, and then we refine our strategy to focus on the channels that work the best, and allocate the most efforts and dollars to that. So again, you're continuing to be effective and efficient with your marketing spend. And then we go beyond analytics. We look again at your actual ROI, your revenue. We really look at the numbers, and we do comparative analysis, and not many people do that as well, because again, it's not a straight path, right? And like you guys just learned here. And then we provide comprehensive reports, a monthly report, and PCA, which is a post-campaign analysis. That's the report that I just shared with you guys. And we dive deep into the results and get your true ROI, or at least the most accurate ROI that is possible for restaurants. Okay. And lastly, complete transparency. With us, you see what you get. You get what you see. So we're very transparent with our ad spend, with ad spend, with attribution, with everything. We provide comprehensive reports so you guys can see that. And of course, we are basically, continuing to improve on everything that we do. All right. So that's it for me. Do you guys have any questions, insights, anything that you want to talk about right now? Anything at all? What did you learn? Let's see the team. All right, Charlie here says, how important is it to have a database? What info do I need? Okay, database is extremely important. Start building a database if you don't have one, Charlie. Just collect email. What I would suggest, email, phone number. Also get date of birth, because then you can run birthday campaigns for them. There's more stuff you can do, but I would stick to those three: full name, email, and phone number, and birthday. Those 4 things, sorry. So collect that, and you can do that through your Wi-Fi system. That's one of the things you can do, is when people are trying to sign up for use your Wi-Fi at the restaurant, they have to enter their email. Sometimes they don't give you the right email. They give you fake emails, but still, like, you start building some of that stuff there. Build contests. You can do that through social. You can do that through your website. Basically, a large contest, or just say, hey, win a dinner for 6 or something like that, and you have a big pop-up on your website, and then people can go there and then actually can sign up to participate, and they'll give you their data there. You can run lead generation ads basically through Facebook. There's a way to do that. Basically offer a free an incentive, a promotion, something that you can offer, a free dessert or something that's attractive. So people actually will give you their data when they see your ad, they click on it, they give you their data in exchange for that particular promotion or coupon. There's different digital coupons, things, different coupon platforms that you can use for that. If you have more questions around that, just send me a message. I was happy to share the details on that with you. All right, so yes, so those are the two ways. There's more ways to that. If you have a reward system or whatever it is, you can also get data through that, and you can have it at table tents at your restaurant, have people sign up, and give them an incentive to do so. All right, Michael, another question here. I receive reservations through OpenTable. How do you track those reservations? Okay, that's a good question. Like I was saying, OpenTable has that feature. There's a specific place that you go to create those tracking links. I can't remember exactly what button that is on OpenTable, but I think it's in, just go through all the buttons in OpenTable on the back end, and you'll see a place where it says like tracking links. And it says basically there, you're going to be able to write down the the channel that it's for that particular tracking link. You can write also the name of the campaign. So then say like Valentine's Day, you can put, website and then Valentine's. So that link is only for your website, for the pop-up, for example. Then you create another one for just social ads, and then you put, Valentine's. So that particular link is just for that campaign. Okay. So you do that for each one, and then you can send people to a landing page, each landing page for that, or you can send them directly through to that link on OpenTable. But normally the landing pages convert better than sending them directly to the OpenTable reservation link, okay? Because it doesn't really provide much information, just the reservation link. On that landing page, you provide all the information. So basically you're doing a sales process there on the landing page. All right, Linda, how would you recommend promoting my restaurant's private dining areas? Okay, Linda, so that's a good question. Like we were saying before, like I was saying, Google Ads, great place to do that. Basically, you just have to know how to run those campaigns properly on Google, so you get the best cost per click, cost per conversion. But that's because people are searching where to, restaurants for private dining. So you basically use keywords like, restaurants that have private dining, best restaurants for private dining. All of those, you should really actually segment those by separate those by ad groups depending on occasions, because people are searching for a particular occasion. So split those up. We actually provide that service to our clients, and we make that a breeze. If you're interested, just let me know. But basically, that's one of the ways to do that, or the best way to do that. You can also support it through your social channels, but make sure also that your landing pages are built properly for conversions, for promoting your private dining events, because that can lead to a lot of additional revenue if you do it properly. All right, so that's it from me today, and thank you guys for being here. Thank you for taking the time. I really hope that you got a lot out of this. We're going to actually send for whoever wasn't able to make it, we'll send a replay of this webinar. So if you missed it, you can still listen to it, and hope you got a lot out from it. And again, thank you guys for being here, and I hope to see you in the next one. We'll be sharing the next one soon. And again, thanks so much. Take care. Bye-bye.